Hello, and welcome to Japanese Craft Beer Reviews. Today I am here with the man formerly known as Boozing Al, and formerly known as Boozing Al and I are going to take a look at a few beers from Kyoto Brewing in Kyoto, Japan. And before we start, though, I'd like to introduce the company a little bit. And this is a brewing company that started in 2015 in Kyoto, Japan. It was started by three people, three foreign residents of Japan, one an American, one a Canadian, and one a Welshman. And they met when they came to Japan to work in the Japan exchange. Was it JET program? Al, is it Japan exchange and teaching?
Japan.
Yeah, something.
I can't remember.
It's a program that places young foreign recent graduates from universities, primarily in education fields throughout Japan. And they were all sent to the northern city of Aomori, and they met there. And the American is the head brewer, and we have both Al and I have known him for many years, and we knew him when he was a home brewer before he became a professional brewer. He studied brewing in the United States, and he also did an internship at Lost Abbey in California. And when he returned to Japan, he also did an internship and worked for a while at Shiga Kogen, or Tamamura Honten, a very highly respected brewer in Nagano, Japan. In 2015, they were rated the best new brewery in Japan by RateBeer in the RateBeer Best Selection. And in 2019, they were chosen as the best brewery in Japan. So, they come with certainly some accolades. And I think both Al and I would agree that they're among our favorite breweries in the country.
Yeah.
And they have a tap room in their brewery. Currently, because of coronavirus, it's takeout only. And they're open Friday, Saturday, and Sunday if you happen to be in Kyoto, Japan. They have three main beers, flagship beers, and then a seasonal line called the Kimagure line, which is generally a pale ale or an IPA, session IPA. They used to have a Shunka Shuto line, which was Saisons, but they're kind of rethinking that and working that into another series of seasonal lines that they have. On RateBeer, there are 195 beers listed for them as of February this year. There may be a few more now. Untapped lists 115, and the average rating on Untapped was 3.72 out of 5. So, Al, can you tell us a little bit more the seasonal or the lines, the series?
Let me see. I had this thing right up here. Yeah, they have a new one, a new line. Let me go ahead and go up to their see it's on there. Right on the webpage.
In addition to their Kimagure line and their flagship, they have a number of series.
They sure do. And I'm actually right now having a little bit of problem here on my computer. Let's see here. Okay, here we go. Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, one of them is the Freedom. The one that I find they have the seasonal, and then they have the Freedom series is the one I think is really exciting because it's left up to the brewer to do, up to them to do kind of more experimental things. They do have a Nakama series also where they do collaborations.
Nakama buddy or friendship series with collaborations with other breweries.
Yep. Right now they don't have anything on their website. They had to start a new one called Iridescence, which is was a little surprise to both of us, I think.
Iridescence. Interesting.
And then they have that. What was it called? The Fruity.
Fruity Life. Yeah, I haven't had that yet. It's sold out.
Yeah, and that's one that I'm kind of curious about as well. But
yeah.
Okay.
So the Freedom series is one. I think they said it was beers we want, we like to drink or we want to make for ourselves, and
right.
Yeah. In fact, the beer we're going to look at today is in that series. Is that right?
Yeah, in fact, all three of them are in that series.
Oh,
we're going to look at several beers, but
okay.
One by one here. But yeah, today's is in that series.
Okay. So again, this is a very highly respected brewery. Not a long-standing brewery. They've been around about 6 years, but they've been doing quite well. And let's take a look at one of their beers now. And I'm stopping the recording, and we'll start a new one. Here we go. Okay, today we're going to take a look at a beer that's probably their newest one, I believe. Is that right?
One of the newest for sure. What is it? What's the Japanese pronunciation?
It's called Wakage no Itari.
Itari, okay, and Rebel with a Cause.
Yeah,
not Rebel without a cause or not a cause or something. Yeah. It's Rebel with a Cause.
And I was curious about the name. What is the cause?
Well, the cause is, well, it is it's part of that experimental series here. And let me just take a quick mention off their website. So yeah, the idea was they thought, they've been doing some higher alcohol beers and they wanted to try to do something that was a little bit lower in alcohol. And they looked at what's the question of what role does alcohol play in beer? And I think that's really quite intriguing because, I know that it carries some flavor and it carries body, especially, right?
And warmth as well.
And so that's my first impression. But what, so if you remove the alcohol, what are you going to? Can you still make a beer? Is it still going to be recognizable as a beer?
So let's preface that with the fact that this is a 1% beer.
Yes, and so it's very low alcohol. Not technically, you can't. I don't know what the rule is if you can call it low alcohol or.
Technically, I think it's 0.5. 0.5 above is low alcohol. Below that, you can call it zero alcohol.
Yeah. What about the state? Is the states in Japan? Do you know the law? Is that similar for both?
Yeah, I don't know. Some session IPAs can be like 3.5 or 4.
Yeah, sure.
Those are not low alcohol, technically.
Right.
Yeah, so, I don't exactly know when we get to regular alcohol from low.
But this is low alcohol.
It is 1%, 12 international bittering units, Saison.
Yeah. And it's a Saison, and so it's really their first time to make anything like this. And they're trying to get the aromas and flavors that you would get from beer without, even though there'll be some difference in the flavor and the body, but nevertheless, let's see what they can get away with here.
Okay.
So it's something that, the idea is kind of going a little bit against the grain. So in other words,
is that a pun, Alan?
Not going to expect this, yes.
Is that a pun?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it's going against the grain a little bit. Yes, and that's why they call it a rebel with a cause, and the cause is to try to do something that's a bit different.
Without alcohol.
Yeah, by trying something, a low, alcohol Saison. The malt bill is Golden Promise, Munich, and T50. There's no bittering hops, which kind of makes sense because if you're going to do low alcohol, and well, I'll talk about this more later when we do talk about cold mashing.
Okay.
You're going to have a relatively low malt, and therefore you're not going to really need much in the way of bittering hops to balance it out. Yeah. So really it's aromatic hops, flavor aroma, Simcoe, Aramis, and Cascade. IBU is about 12.
That is a lot of hops, certainly for flavor and aroma. A lot of different hops.
Yeah, and the quantity, and I'm sure as I have had this, so there seems to be a fairly generous quantity of hop in it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, let me put in a little bit more information here on RateBeer. This one has only 2 ratings so far. and those come in at 3.1 and 3.2 out of 5,
That's
rather low.
not,
Untapped.
that's not terrible though. Yeah.
No. But I would say just average ratings.
Yeah, we'll see.
Drinkable, but we'll see. We'll see how we rate it.
Yeah, I guess it's one of those things. I have to compare it to what I'd rate Asahi Super Dry or something.
Okay.
It's certainly better than that.
Okay, and Untapped, this has 18 ratings at 3.27, so a little bit higher. Yeah, and now I was mentioning the low alcohol point. Low or no alcohol beers are actually one of the fastest growing sectors in the beer industry. And some brewers are taking advantage of that now. In Japan, it's a very big sector currently, with Japanese drinking less, young Japanese not drinking alcohol as much, and so forth. So, well, do you want to talk about the technique before we get into the beer, or should we?
I sure do, but I want to open the beer. Here we go.
Okay, ready?
3,
One,
2, 1.
2, 3.
Don't spray. Ah,
There you go.
All right, there you go. Cheers. Okay.
Cheers.
Okay.
Oh, I can smell it already. My goodness.
Oh yeah, it's very aromatic. Wow.
Okay. Well, here's to you, Alan. Cheers.
Pie. Here we go. We get somewhat different colors. Let's see if I can get the head up there. I can't really do it this way.
Substantial carbonation.
Yeah.
It is rather dark, slightly hazy, dark amber color. About a finger.
Yeah.
More than a finger of foam, kind of sponge-like foam.
Yeah, it has a very nice kind of persistent. I think from the last one I had, it was pretty persistent.
It certainly is. Yeah. Okay, aroma. Let's try the aroma here. What do we get?
Okay. Definitely citrus, orange.
For sure, a lot of orange. Yeah.
Some lemon.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe there's peach. There's some tree stone fruits.
I'm getting the yeast is certainly coming up in my nose as well. Kind of creamy Belgian yeast, sort of. Do they specify the yeast exactly?
Yeah.
Belgian yeast.
Let me
Saison yeast.
Yep. Oh, I'm sure they do. Yes. Let me just double check that here. The yeast is Saison yeast. Yeah.
Saison yeast. Yeah. Yeah. It definitely smells like a Saison.
It's got a little bit of that kind of grassy note, floral as well.
Okay. Well,
my first impression is I get more of the grass. So while I'm smelling the citrus, I'm getting it's very dry, and then you get the grassy kind of note.
Absolutely,
more like
I agree. They said there's no bittering hops, but what am I getting? What kind of bitterness? What am I getting in my tongue?
Well, I'm getting kind of on the back, on sides in the back, and I think that might be astringency, or rather than bitterness. I'm not sure. That's a really good point. It could be from hops, although maybe it could also be from
from the flavor and aroma hops. Yeah, I'm definitely getting something that's like maybe a yeast bite or something.
Yeah,
light astringency. You're right. Body is very light, very light body.
But it's kind of a temporary. I mean, the finish, the flavors come back. I mean, some of the flavoring kind of takes a little journey.
Yeah, you're right. It does. Well, I can say this is certainly better than the zero alcohol beers I've been looking at recently. I mean, it definitely it tastes like a beer. You know, it does not taste like a fake beer or a denatured beer.
It's funny because I think the finish reminds me of because it goes really dry. It goes like, I mean, I'm not sure, like some of the German, like, I don't know, Pilsners, a very dry sort of bitter Pilsner. It reminds me of that actually.
The flavor, yeah.
So it kind of goes from a Saison, and it smells a little bit like an IPA. And and then it does have some of the Saison characteristics too of, as well, the citrus fruits and the grass notes. But then it's like a
Pilsner.
Well, yeah, it's kind of like a fusion beer in a sense.
I think the aroma is definitely Saison. The initial flavor with that aroma, retronasal thing going on, would be Saison. And then it changes. It changes in mid palate for sure.
It does, doesn't it? That's actually, and that actually makes it kind of interesting. I didn't quite know what to make of it the first time I tried it.
Yeah.
Now this is the second time I've had it, so.
Okay.
I think it's pretty good.
It's pretty good, yeah. I mean, definitely for a low alcohol beer, you could do a lot worse than this,
Yeah, I think that I mean, my expectation was it would be dry and it would be it might be thin. Now the thinness, it's not that thin, but it's certainly super dry. I mean, there's a thin note, but then you're really kind of distracted by all these other flavors.
Right.
And maybe the creaminess that comes from that yeast.
Yeah.
Wow. And I'm still tasting it. So it's got a long finish.
Certainly.
So the hops are really, really, really carrying the flavor element here.
Right.
Well, the aroma is really great. Actually, I think the aroma is.
If you want a beer that's going to be, be a more helpful choice, a 1%er, you could drink this and fool yourself into thinking it's 4 or 5% alcohol.
Yeah, I mean, there's no sweetness. It's definitely austere in that way.
Absolutely.
But this would be a really great summer beer. If you want a really dry, beer, kind of, fairly refreshing, right? And of course, it's not going to be heavy, right? Because it doesn't have all the carbohydrates in it.
Yeah, I think the brewer was mentioning something like, wouldn't it be fun to see how many of these you'd have to, or how fast you'd have to drink enough of these to get the same effect as a regular.
That was. I think I made a joke about it
5%.
At some point. He said, "Yeah, we've been passing that joke around the factory." So. Yeah. I imagine how many is it going to take for us to get drunk off? Well, probably a dozen.
Yeah, quite a bit. Yeah. Okay. So, Alan, let's get into the technique and then wrap it up. Okay.
Sure. Yeah. Let me go into. I'm just getting also some and this comes with saisons too. That grapefruit pith, that bitter grapefruit pith. The white kind of inside the.
Let's specify that is PITH. Yeah.
Yes, pith.
Yeah. You'd pronounce it
the pith out
perfectly.
Of the pith. Yeah. Okay. So what I was looking at, I found a website and I thought I just want to look into the cold mashing. So the cold mashing, the technique they use here to get the low alcohol is to use cold mashing. So what they're doing is they're extracting from the barley. They're extracting flavor compounds and color. And I think there's something else that's like, what did they call it? And other, what was it?
Not too much sweet, not too much fermentables, right?
Right. And so what they're leaving behind is, in fact, largely the complex carbohydrates. So they are getting this, a low dextrin. And what happens when you do these, this is from the Breeze website, by the way, which is out of Wisconsin, and they're malt producers, and they've been at it for 140 years or so.
It's
so they
spelled
have
BRIESS. The malt.
SS, yes.
Yeah, okay.
And they have a helpful little note on cold extraction, and they talk in part of this article, they talk about cold extraction applications, and one of them is low alcohol beer. So obviously what's going on is you're leaving behind the complex carbohydrates and the dextrins, and therefore you don't have much sugar to ferment. So typically you would get 1 to 1.5 ABV.
Okay.
Now, so there's very little sweetness, which is what you'd expect. Now, but there's some other uses, and this I did not know, but this technique can be also used in anytime you don't want to increase the gravity or weight of the beer. You don't want it to be heavier or, thicker, more dense with sweeter, etc.
Right.
This is also used in strong ales and IPAs, dry stouts, and reds. And you're adding, what you're doing is you're adding like a specialty malt character. So that's another use.
So wait, Alan, are you saying that you can make a high alcohol beer out of cold mashing? Is that?
No, it's only added. You'd make the high alcohol beer the way you'd make it normally,
and then
you probably cold mash some of just the specialty malt.
I see.
And then you add that in.
Okay.
At a point.
And that would lower the ABV.
It would at least not raise the ABV.
Right. Okay.
Not much anyway.
Okay.
Yeah. So it would probably limit. So you're getting, it's also said that, so one of the results is it gives it a drier, cleaner perception. So that's another reason that you could use that. High adjunct beers also apparently use this, and I'm not exactly light lagers can do something like this also. All malt strong ales also, it has been used in those as well. And I'm not quite sure. It seems to be that they're taking out some of the flavors initially through the cold mash, and then they're reusing it and fermenting it the remainder normally. And what I think they do is they've kind of kept some flavors that would normally get lost in the boil, maybe.
Right. Okay. Interesting.
So yeah, there's different uses for this, but one of them, of course, is low alcohol beer. So
and the cold, I think cold aspect is nice because in my looking around for the no alcohol beers that I was reviewing recently, some of the techniques that they use to extract, so they'll brew a beer and then remove the alcohol, and some of them are thermal techniques that disrupt the molecular balance of the regular beer, and you get rid of a lot of esters and things like that. So that's where you get some of the off flavors. I think this. Yeah, and so by limiting the alcohol from the start, you have that full, the available carbohydrates. You have the full effect of fermentation. Right.
And I think that's what's. I mean, as you can attest in your 17 low alcohol, non-alcohol beers,
I'm not done yet.
There's not a whole lot of flavor, and they just don't seem like they've been. Most of them don't seem like they've been fermented.
No, and so and some of them have not. Have not.
Yeah, and
they're beer sodas.
The sweet style is really, it's so transparently bad. I mean,
they are. They really are. Okay. Well, should we give this one a rating?
Yeah. Well, okay. That aroma is really great, though.
It's a great aroma. I would give it high points for that, for sure.
The initial attack is a bit of a shock for the first time you have it. I think that dryness.
Yeah.
For most people, once you get used to it, of course, I think you can come to like it. I actually have coming around really. Yeah. I actually kind of like it.
I think it's not bad. Yeah. I don't think I would drink this all the time. But I think I'm going to give this a 3.3, perhaps 3.3.
I might be a little more generous, but one thing I like is that, initially it doesn't have the kind of attack that you're used to with the beer, and that is more that malt and that big kind of volume. You do get more of that dry, a little bit thin on the palate, but this big hop punch. And then that kind of fades on the mid palate, but then boom, on the end.
Yeah, it's got an aftertaste, that's for sure.
It's got this aftertaste that it expands, and you get this. And I get like the little bit the peach flavor coming in. So peach and the various citrus flavors as well.
Yeah, okay.
So
Yeah.
I would say you could say that as a beer, the very initial part is a little bit, the aroma's amazing, I think, but the initial part
really
is a little bit off-putting, and then it starts to fade, but then with this really nice finish.
Kind of blooms in the finish, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I could give it a 3.5. I think. I think
okay.
that. I think
Yeah.
it's.
I think I would give it a high aroma score and just a regular flavor score overall, but yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, can we wrap this up?
Yeah.
Okay. So
all right.
Great comments, really, and thank you for the information about cold mashing. That really adds.
Well, it's interesting stuff. I mean, it's really impressive what brewers are doing these days, and this could be a whole world that's opening up here.
Yeah.
I hope they keep pursuing this line.
Yeah, this could be a good line for them, definitely. Yeah.
I think so. So.
Okay.
Kampai.
Cheers. Thank you very much. And
thank you.
And we're going to be reviewing a few more beers from Kyoto Brewing next. I hope you watch those. And thank you very much for coming along. Please subscribe to the channel and leave us a comment. Okay, I'll answer, or maybe the man formerly known as Boozing Alan will answer, but definitely will answer. Okay. Thank you very much, and take care. Bye-bye.